Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, episode number 3 today for the Vietnam Grand Prix. If you guys did miss the previous 2 episodes, the opening 2 rounds, uploaded both yesterday, the very first day I could start posting F1 2020 videos, then be sure to go check those 2 out before you see this one. But this is the 3rd round at a brand new circuit in Formula 1 for us to tackle. But before we do that, you can see we've got a bit of time to allocate before the Vietnam Grand Prix to some activities here today. And I've decided with the time we've got, we're going to go all in on the bottom 3 activities you can see there with sponsor advertisement, sponsor event, and then also the funded team event. That's going to boost all departments in terms of morale. That will cost some money, but you can see the bottom right one, the 3-day sponsor advertisement, that will actually gain us some money. So overall, we'll actually make a little bit of money having done these 3 events. At the same time, we'll use most of the time we've got left because it's 3, 3, and 2. Would have used 8 days out of the 9, so the most efficient way to go about things. And at the end of it, we're going to boost all 4 component departments, and we're also going to boost the team acclaim twice over with those 2 sponsor events, and then one of them is actually going to make us a little bit of money to then spend on basically the other 2 events in a way, essentially. And we're focusing on the team acclaim because we're on level 3 right now overall, and I believe we need to get to level 5 team acclaim to get to the next sponsor on the car. Right now, we've got Shark and Atlantic, which we signed last episode. Atlantic, that new sponsor on the car. To get to the next one, we need to boost up our acclaim. So really focusing on that and also trying to boost up the morale of our 4 departments, because the higher morale, the better chance of, or less chance of a failure of upgrades. And we do have potentially 3 new upgrades coming for the Vietnam Grand Prix. An engine one, chassis, and aero. So in all departments, we could be improving our car. So we're going to go ahead and advance through time in a second, but just going to show you here now, after we made those chassis HQ upgrades, we've now got at least 1 upgrade on the chassis. You can see there's spec 1, but we've only got 1 little kind of green divot going around the circle, whereas on the engine side, you can see we've got 4 different upgrades on that spec 1, essentially. That's all because, obviously, that was what I focused on at the very start of this career mode. The rest of these departments are going to have to spend that money, and quite a fair bit, actually, because one of those little green bits is 2 million, so that's quite a lot of money we're going to end up spending over the course of this entire career. So, as I said before, money is going to be king in this series, as well as the R&D, of course, but that's really going to be where we need to focus on. And obviously, getting more money means trying to get more sponsors, so that's why the team acclaim kind of pays into everything we do in this series. But you can see the engine upgrade has come onto the car then as we advance through time, and we're going to go ahead and actually purchase another engine upgrade on the energy recovery system. So last time, that upgrade that just came in for us was pure power. This will be on the ERS, so hopefully that will harvest some more ERS for us automatically as we are not using overtake mode, and so that means I can, in theory, use overtake mode a little bit more later on in the Grand Prix when it may be crucial. And now you've just seen those 2 upgrades have come in, and thankfully, neither of them have failed. So actually, really big win for us. We got a new chassis upgrade, new aero upgrade, and the new engine upgrade, and all of them all came through. So I was very worried because we had a 40% chance, as you can clearly see there on the bottom right, of a failure. But we got on the lucky side. We got on the 60% chance. So, hey presto, obviously it's not always going to be like that. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's not going to be this easy every single time. There will be some frustrating points where there are failures on the car. But these 2 have come in. So we've got an upgrade to every single department ahead of what could be a very difficult Grand Prix. You know, Vietnam, it's a new circuit. But meanwhile, in the background, in the menus, you'd see I'm kind of been hovering over the chassis upgrade, kind of debating what to do. Eventually, I just bit the bullet and decided to buy an upgrade on the tyre wear, because that was an issue for us at Australia and could help out in races like Bahrain, where we're doing a more aggressive strategy, and so it just allows us to push even harder. That upgrade will come in after the Chinese Grand Prix, so unfortunately, we're going to have to wait 2 races, essentially, this episode and next episode, until it comes in. But obviously, we're going to have to wait around anyway, so we may as well just buy it now and not waste any more days, essentially, advancing time through the calendar slot. And finally, the last bit of admin is going to be this area of the game we've not explored yet in this career. It's a bigger part in the normal career mode, I feel, compared to my team, but it's still going to be important to us, is going to be a driver perk that we can purchase using the money we've got that's available for the team. It's also available to us personally as a driver, and so we can buy a driver perk which will boost certain attributes, whether it be R&D or interview. So let's just find out a bit more info about it.
Here, we can spend any extra money that you secured on perks. Each of these perks benefit both you and your current team. They stay with you, so they'll make you a more attractive prospect in future negotiations.
So like Emma just said, we can spend money we've got expendable on these perks. I'm going to go ahead and purchase the bottom perk, which is going to boost our R&D collecting by 10%. So we're going to get a little bit more R&D every single practice session, quali, and the race, and that will help the car directly. And then finally, I'm going to go through to Claire. This was before qualifying, and she's asking us who our rival, or who we feel our rival is going to be. This is important because we have to beat them, because if we beat them, we're going to get more acclaim level. If we get beaten by them, that's also going to be a negative effect. So it's actually going to be very important for not only us, but the entire team, that we pick the right driver and that we actually can beat them. So I'm going to go for Romain Grosjean, because we've comfortably beaten the Haas team in both races. We fought off Grosjean really well at Australia, and so I feel like we can beat him consistently over the next few races, because this rivalry will go on for 6 races, I believe, and that's when the acclaim then is given after 6 races. But now it's time then to move on into the racing action and head on to Q1 for the Vietnam Grand Prix. The very first time we're going to tackle this circuit in a career mode context here in our brand new aarava Archer racing team. So here we are then, plenty of understeer as you can see in Sector 3, getting used to this car. Of course, the last time I drove this circuit was in a Mercedes car, so there was a massive difference in terms of downforce, the front end responsiveness through the last corner, very hairy and close to the wall, across the line, and lower than our teammate Mick Schumacher there in P10 as it stands. Eventually it'll be P22 and Schumacher is up there in P19, so plenty of time to find. We're going to find nearly about 2/10 just through the first corner or two alone, basically, in terms of taking the curb a little bit better and smoother than I did on that first flying lap. And then in towards the hairpin, you're about to see 5/10 gained, and then a further 3 just in the brake zone, being way more confident under the downshifts, and just a little bit later on the brake, applying the brake pedal just a bit of a better manner than I did that first time. And then eventually through the last 2 corners, we're gaining nearly about 1.3 to 1.4, I think that is, as we come through the last corner, close to the wall, DRS open, and across the line, P19 then just ahead of Schumacher then. But as we move through the session, it's the end of the session. We're in the last flying lap. Schumacher, I think, has gone even better. So we are under pressure here. We're down to P20, and we're not looking too great, and we're not even going to improve too much as we come through understeer through the last corner. We don't improve on that 3rd flying lap, so our 2nd lap will be our fastest, and we have qualified in P20. And Mick Schumacher, our teammate, has out-qualified us for the first time this season, and he has got into Q2. So I got into Q2 last episode, he's done it this time, so quite nice actually, and I guess it kind of shows our car is improving very much from Australia in general. But I definitely didn't gel as well as Mick over 1 lap, but the race is a different story. I felt like, you know, it was just a case of I made a few too many mistakes on that 3rd flying lap. There was time on the table to find, but I lost it all in the last few corners. You saw the amount of understeer I had in the last one, so I think we can do better in the race. We can catch up to Mick, and hopefully our race pace is a lot like what we had in Bahrain, if Mick getting through into Q2 is anything to show by, you know, like I did last episode. So let's go towards the grid and just hope for a better Sunday.
The Formula One circus has arrived in Southeast Asia once more, as we usher in a new era and get ready to go racing here in Vietnam. A lap of Hanoi circuit then, 3.4 miles around the Vietnamese capital. A number of the 23 corners take their inspiration from other great circuits, hopefully creating plenty of passing opportunities. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
There are 3 main things to worry about there, Crofty: positioning, awareness and discipline. First, you have to put your car in a bit of space and make sure you have room to react to what the others are doing. Then you have to watch your mirrors and listen to the sounds around you to get a sense of where everyone is. And finally, just don't get too greedy. Just because a gap exists doesn't always mean you should go for it.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Leclerc, Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas and Albon. Sainz, Ricciardo, Norris, and Lance Stroll, Ocon, Perez, Daniel Kvyat, and Gasly, Raikkonen, Schumacher, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Roman Grosjean, Magnussen, the owner-driver, Russell, and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
So in terms of the race strategy then, a lot like Bahrain, there's a 1-stop and a 2-stop. So this gives me a lot of hope that the race could be quite similar to Bahrain in terms of the pace we showed on the more aggressive 2-stop. I think the car and my driving style, at least right now in the game, suits a more aggressive 2-stop. So we're going to switch it around though a little bit because we've only got one fresh set of softs to use. That's going to be the set we start on. So a fresh soft set at the start, then medium, and then we're going to end on a used set of soft tires, rather than doing 2 softs and then ending off on a medium set. I feel like I want to try and gauge and kind of maybe stretch the medium tire just to give us a better chance right at the end of the race, maybe on that kind of more worn out soft compound. But obviously it is a very different circuit to Bahrain, and we did get very lucky at Bahrain with the virtual safety car. So I'm not saying it's going to be the exact same scenario, but it gives me hope to know that this race can be either a 1 or a 2 stop versus Australia. So here we go then to 5 red lights for round number 3, our very first career mode race at the Vietnam Grand Prix. 5 lights are out and we're underway. It's a good getaway for us compared to the Haas cars. Once again, Grosjean bogs down. Schumacher has had a blistering start. He's overtaking 2 cars there. Raikkonen, we dive down the inside of all 3 of them there. I think Gasly, Raikkonen and Giovinazzi on my inside there. Bit of a, oh, we've been tagged by Pierre Gasly. Surprise, surprise there. Once again in the F1 game, myself and Gasly come to wars. We've been pushed down to P19 now. We fight back, we ride the curb, little bit of a cut there, and it extended the track, but we're up into P17 on the inside of Raikkonen. But look at these guys pushing so hard at the start of Grand Prix. We use some overtake mode to try and counteract Raikkonen coming around our outside there, but for sure we were caught napping a little bit there because we didn't use enough overtake mode through the first 2 turns compared to everyone else, and also just Gasly tagging me for some reason on the rear end. I think it was him, caught me out. We were trying to go side by side with Schumacher. Instead, we're left kind of half spinning with the AlphaTauri tagging us. And speaking about the AlphaTauri, he's being attacked by Giovinazzi. Very aggressive. Nice to see there from the AI. Giovinazzi on the outside, Gasly on the inside. We're going to make a mega dive and try and force our way down the inside there. They've been caught napping. And to be fair, I could make the move. It wasn't like it was a massive dive bomb, really. It was just a very easy move to the inside there. They allowed me to have the room, and now on the exit trying to squeeze out Giovinazzi. We're going to be neck and neck, but he leaves enough room and just backs out there as we enter the next right-hander, and so we're up into P15, I think that is, yes, P15, and Schumacher is ahead of us in P14. So overall, a very good start for both our cars there. Like I said, Schumacher to turn 1 made a triple overtake, I think that was, and both Alphas, or all 3 Alphas, how you want to say, AlphaTauri and both the Alfa Romeo. So, he made a decent start. So this is very promising maybe, and is giving me some Bahrain vibes as Schumacher is now pressurizing Stroll and trying to overtake one of the Racing Point cars. So very, very good stuff to see that Schumacher's also got the confidence in the car to attack. So, the aero, chassis and engine upgrades clearly working because Schumacher is looking a lot more punchier than he was maybe in the first 2 episodes for sure. But obviously, as much as that's good to see, I want to try and get past him if we can. So as we enter now towards the last sector, trying to find our groove. And to be fair, I feel like we've got a decent rhythm through here. This is the one part of the Vietnam Grand Prix I really gel with, and when you get it right, it is actually very satisfying. So we come through the left, then the right, and then it'll be that final or second last left-hander before the final corner. But getting decent time through this sector, pressurizing Schumacher already there. He's obviously on a set of fresh softs as well, like us, so he's not really got tyre wear to deal with, but I just feel like we're obviously the faster driver compared to Mick if you look at the last 2 episodes and the first 2 rounds. So into turn 1 now, really part of the pressure. He locks up and goes very slow on the exit. We tap him twice there as he blocks us off, and you can see the mistake he made. He wobbled mid-corner, so we kind of pushed past him very aggressively there. Didn't mean to be that aggressive with him, I'm going to be honest, but I just didn't really kind of foresee him brake checking me after locking up into turn 1. So Schumacher making a mistake there, feeling the pressure. And we're up into P14 then, and so now we close up to Lance Stroll through that right and then left, winding through this very, impatient left-hander for me at least. I always want to try and get on the power earlier, but you have to be very calm and try and get the exit as best you can, because the exit you get off that corner is going to be so important through this entire back straight as we open DRS as well, using some overtake mode, trying to go to the left, forcing our way through. Bit of contact made there, but Stroll tried to force us to the outside. We're not having any of it. We want the inside line. We get the job done, down to neutral even, to try and slow down the car as I'm trying to really get the car to the apex there in a kind of hurry. And we're up into P13 then, so some good progress. And now lap 6, we're caught up behind Danica Fiat in the second AlphaTauri, and ahead of him the likes of Lando Norris, and I believe that's the Renault, I think, of Daniel Ricciardo or Ocon there, one of the Renaults. And so looking decent at the moment, pressurizing AlphaTauri. To be fair, on the R&D chart, if you were eagle-eyed at the start of the episode, Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri, they're just a tiny bit ahead of us on paper, but not that much. So in theory, we should be able to attack Fiat. Norris and the Renault, maybe not so much, but we'll see. Right now, it looks like they're struggling a little bit because Fiat is right on the back of them. So if Fiat can attack them, I think we can as well. So going towards the hairpin, then having a look at this fight, and you've got Norris trying to overtake the Renault, but also Fiat trying to get a mix in there. He looks on the left, it's very close to the wall, makes contact with Norris, and he's now susceptible to us as we go round the outside of Fiat. Norris versus Ricciardo up ahead of us there on the exit. We're side by side, just about used overtake mode. Look at the exit we've got with the ERS down the inside, and we'll get the job done and squeeze out the Russian. And we're up into now P12, I think this is ahead of us. A great battle between Ricciardo and Norris, and Ricciardo's overtaken by the McLaren as Fiat tries to come back at us, to be fair. So he's got some decent some speed and confidence there as he had a look around the outside, but to no end. And so we're up into P12, like I mentioned, and we could get P11. I think Norris looks strong, but Ricciardo here, he looks quite slow through the last corner. Look how slow he is through that apex, even though I understeer and hit the wall a little bit, and no damage on the front wing as I check on the bottom right. But Ricciardo does look slow. We can't do anything into turn 1, even with DRS, but I reckon into the right to left chicane before that very awkward long left-hander to the back straight, I reckon we could try and attack Ricciardo through there. To wind through the left and right, grazing the curb on the left and not trying to hit the wall on the right. Open DRS. Not going to use overtake mode. You're going to save that. Just going to use the DRS to help us gain a little bit. Going to stay in standard mixture as well to just give us a good fighting chance on the exit if we can't get it done here. But look at this. Nice switch. Really perfect apex there. And on the inside, he's hit tyre wear for sure, Ricciardo. I think he may have started on a used set of soft tyres compared to my kind of fresh set. And we've made a very easy pass up into P10 of the Vietnam Grand Prix. So we are literally where we were at Bahrain. We could maybe get just 1 point. And once again, we're fighting McLaren and Renault for that. It didn't work out for us, obviously, at Bahrain. But let's see, as we come through the last corner, then Norris comes in. We continue on for one more lap, because that's our pit strategy, going 9 laps in this Grand Prix. But Norris tries to get an undercut. And to be honest, at the end here, look at the understeer we're getting. In hindsight, I should have come in on the same lap as Norris, because the tyres really did go off the cliff very quickly on this set of soft tyres at Vietnam. I don't know what it was, just instantly in Sector 3, they just went, and there was no front end gripping, so much so that Ricciardo closed back up to us in Sector 3, even with his tyre wear. So we're now for that pit stop. You can see a load of cars coming across and overtaking us as we were up the order, as we were one of the last people to make a pit stop. In now for this set of medium tyres, like I mentioned, as we kind of changed around the strategy there. And now we're going to experience that very awkward pit lane exit for the second time now in this game. Obviously, I did it once in the preview videos in the Mercedes car, but now this is a real racing scenario. Maybe some cars going to be around us. Let's see as we come through. There is the Williams car. So thankfully for us, he wasn't any closer to us, so there's no awkwardness. But I'm just waiting for there to be a career mode season where we come out side by side with someone. That'll just be so awkward. But we're now out behind Russell, DRS open. We need to try and get past him as quickly as we can, but we're going to catch him at a very awkward point of the circuit here through this right-hander. He's so slow in this right and left that he holds up so much. We go first gear and we've lost. I'm convinced we've lost at least a good half a second, now a full second, as he wobbles on the exit. So again, an AI mistake, which is great to see, but not great for me being caught up behind it. So I'm adamant we lost a good second there behind Russell. Very annoying, just like we did with Latifi Latifi in Australia, but we're going to try and get past him on the right-hand side. He goes defensive to the inside. No use for him as we open a DRS, use a bit of overtake mode. I'm going to cut across into the brake zone and get the job done on our fellow Brit. Up into P15 now. Norris, though, look at the minimap. He's so far ahead of us. I mean, he's the next car along, but that's how much time we've lost to Lando now in that kind of undercut, overcut, and onto the traffic with the Williams car. But as we now go through the second phase of this Grand Prix, we're just going to go up the order basically as we go on through the laps. So we're up into P12 now on lap 11. Lap 12 on the 13 will gain one more position, so Raikkonen, so we're going to be up into P11. We've got a few different strategies. It looks like Ocon and Ricciardo are both on hard tyres going to a one-stop. I think the same for Sainz. Norris is on a two-stop with us, as well as Giovinazzi then. So a bit of a mixture like it was the case at Bahrain. But as we now go through into lap 16, we are catching Ocon. Now, Ocon is going to the end of this Grand Prix on hard tyres, and we're catching him on a strategy that obviously my tyres should be wearing out more than his. And I'm going to be coming in theory, in like, 5 laps time or so. And I'm catching him, which I found very weird and kind of promising in a way. I don't know, the Renault just doesn't seem that great around this circuit as well. We see that Albon and Vettel, they've both just come out ahead of us, and they're going to attack Ocon. So I'm hoping that these two, whilst they attack Ocon, they hold him up. As you can see, Ocon holds Vettel up, but as both these guys try and pounce on him, maybe we can catch Ocon napping and try and get the Renault, because he's already got a lack of pace compared to us. Like I said, with the tyre different, I don't know why he's being a little bit slower, but I don't know, the hard tyres might just be that horrendous around Vietnam like they were at Australia, and so therefore again, kind of a good way that we've chosen the two-stop. But as it stands right now, Vettel has overtaken Ocon, but Albon yet to do it. Ocon actually comes back at Vettel a little bit down on the right-hand side. Great little battle there, and decent start, to be fair, from the Frenchman to get the German. And now Albon is attacking Vettel, so Vettel is feeling the pressure. Albon round the outside, and now the Ferrari and Red Bull are once again side by side, and they're battling each other rather than getting past the slower Renault car. So this is kind of playing into my hands, and eventually on lap 18 then, 10 laps to go in this Grand Prix, not too far away from our second pit stop. Ocon has been overtaken in the third sector, but we are gaining so much time. And look at this, how much time we're gaining. I don't know if it's just because he's just been overtaken, so his tyre, his internal carcass temperature might be a little bit off, and his tyres just might be overheated from battling the Red Bull too much. But he is just so slow on this lap here, and we are gaining. Even though I'm feeling tyre wear, for sure I'm feeling it, because into every corner I'm not feeling the same bite in response as I was on the previous few laps. But we've got the pace here. Now, as you can clearly see, in a straight line, trying to get Ocon, you go for a textbook switchback, brake a little bit earlier, trying to get the car turned in, power on earlier, overtake mode as well, engage on the exit, and we're going to get the job done by the time we get to the next right-hander, and we're up into P8 of this Grand Prix now, with 8 laps to go, and I'm going to be honest, the tyres feel fine. They feel, yes, worn out, but they don't feel absolutely horrendous going off the cliff like they were on the soft tyres, around lap 9. So I'm thinking a little bit, why don't we just carry on? Because behind me now, Ricciardo is attacking Ocon. So this is now, I think, lap 22 or so. The two Renaults are battling. You've got Lance Stroll, I think that's right behind, or Sergio Perez, one of the racing points is behind them. There's another racing point behind that racing point, and then you've got Lando Norris's McLaren. So the man I was kind of quote-unquote trying to follow and fight, Norris, is there, quite a bit behind, and then there's a massive gap to him. So that massive gap is just where I'm going to be if I pit. So if I pit right now, I'll be in no man's land, ahead of this Alfa Romeo, I think, and basically just on my own. I may as well, I'm thinking, try my luck. It sounds a bit bonkers, but trying my luck on this one stop with a set of medium tyres, what have I got to lose? I'll either lose these positions and go behind Norris, or pit and be behind Norris anyway, so I may as well try it. And the fact that the two Renaults were fighting was helping me out. I say was, because now on lap 25 they've stopped fighting. We've got 3 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and Ocon now has a great run on us. We've not got too much ERS to use. We've used a little bit of overtake mode, but the Renault is going to breeze past us, be very aggressive whilst he does that. So clearly Ocon a little bit annoyed at the fact that I overtook him in the first place, because he was very rude about getting past us. But I mean, it is what it is, and so he's up into P8, and I think that's maybe us done in terms of keeping P8 at least, because he waltzes off, and eventually now I feel like now his hard tyres, even though they don't seem that great around Vietnam, they're now faster than our mediums. And now you can see we've got Stroll attacking us. We just kind of blocked him off a little bit there. I kind of thought he was going to keep on attacking us, to be fair, so that's why. But we're now going to, well, this is on purpose, slowing down, because you saw that I went went wide and very deep on purpose and let off the throttle because I want to be behind him on the detection point because I want to try and get him back with DRS. So, bit of a wily old fox move, quite risky because I've got a lot of tyre wear, so that could have maybe not worked out, but you're about to see it does work out as we open DRS, overtake mode, rich mix, and we're going to try and just go around the outside, very close to the wall there, and also Ricciardo and Norris trying to get involved down the inside, slow the thing down just about, and we're back up into P9 of this Grand Prix, but for how much longer? Literally the very end of that lap, onto lap 27, 2 laps to go in this Grand Prix, very slow through the last corner, and there is Stroll coming, punching past with DRS there. We didn't use any overtake mode, he did, I'm pretty sure, and he's got past us, and to be fair, it was probably coming, and now there's the snap of oversteer. The tyre wear's really kicking in, and Ricciardo is going to push past us on the hard tyres. We give a good old fight, to be honest. I mean, I was very surprised we actually kept that through. So for now, we're remaining P10, DRS open there, rich mix, not going to use overtake mode because I want to try and use that on the back straight, but Ricciardo's already passed us. Norris tries it on the left-hand side. We go defensive against the McLaren driver. We will maintain P11, and we've got maybe half a chance, but it's not going to work out. If you thought I was going to cut onto the main straight and re-overtake Ricciardo, that did not happen. And into the last corner, or second last corner rather, very slow and a lot of understeer there, and Norris just powers past us. Obviously not too surprised how quick Norris is because he's on an actual 2-stop. And so we come through on the last lap, and you can see the tyre wear there is abysmal. So we're P12. So you know what? We gave it a good old chance. Like I said though, we would have been P12 anyway, and I would have actually been a lot further back from Norris than I am now to him if we had made that second pit stop. So I'm going to count this as a pretty successful experiment of trying to do a one-stop. Maybe next season, with the tyre upgrades and such, we could make a one-stop work if we stretch the softs even longer, and then if our car was kinder on the medium tyres. We can see a lot of tyre wear there. We're limping through, and we're going to just about finish ahead of Danke Fiat there. The brief yellow flags help us out a little bit in the last sector, and so we'll be P12, so it's not as high as we finished at Bahrain, and it's not points again like it was at Bahrain, but you know what, we get a good old shot. And at Vietnam, I thought we were going to struggle a lot more, to be honest, so I'm pretty happy with our race today and proud of the experiment, and you know, it nearly worked out. And like I said, next season, I think it could kind of work out if the car was just a little bit better in the corners and on the tyre wear. So, all in all, we got the driver of the day, so can't complain about that. Actually, I'll very much take that.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Red Bull today. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
So Max Verstappen wins the Vietnam Grand Prix, and the two other podium runners are the two Mercedes cars. So finally, the kind of patch performances show out, and the two Mercs look stronger. But Verstappen wins out, and the two Ferraris are a bit slow there. So good to see in terms of the realism, a bit more realistic there, I think, of the two Mercedes up there with one of the Red Bull cars of Verstappen there. The two Ferraris down in P4 and 5. Like I said, though, for us, P12, I think we did a stunning job in terms of recovering one from a bad quali, which for sure, I think the race pace showed that we definitely messed up quali. We could have been as high as Schumacher for sure, and therefore we could have actually done even better at the start of the race, maybe, instead of being kind of half spanned by the AlphaTauri and being caught up with the Alfa Romeo. So what could have been in terms of our better Saturday, but you know, we made up for it. P12, very solid result, and that actually will move us up into the highest position you can get without scoring points in both the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors' Championship. So we are as high as we can go without scoring points. So all in all, not too bad. You can see AlphaTauri, though, annoyingly 3 points. That's all they have, 3 points, and they're ahead of us. So that's the aim, 3 points. We need to try and get AlphaTauri. We said it at the very start of the series in episode 1. We're aiming for that magic of Toro Rosso from last season, AlphaTauri this season, and so it kind of makes sense. They're only 3 points ahead of us. I think we can do this, and it's coming. It's coming. It's going to be sooner rather than later, I think.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
So the first time we're going to answer some questions with Claire in one of these episodes here, just to kind of show you the kind of process, obviously. Going to compliment the chassis on this side, and hopefully that'll boost the morale of that as we're looking to improve that side.
Your team must be ecstatic with how you're performing.
And then with these kind of questions, it's all about trying to pick the answer that complements the team, because you want to try and get that team rep and acclaim as high as you can. So there we can see we boosted it.
Things were close between you and your rival, but it looks like you're coming up top, doesn't it?
And again, with the rival against Grosjean, we beat him, but it's good to kind of compliment him and say we're going to push each other, because again, that gets the acclaim up nice and high.
Great. Well, that's everything.
So that is the end then of this third episode and our very first race at the Vietnam Grand Prix in our aarava Archer racing car. If you guys did enjoy the episode, then be sure to smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. You can see we get some extra acclaim. The rivalry against Grosjean's going well, but we've got to continue to keep on beating him for the next 5 races. But at the end of that, we do get the sponsor goal from Atlantic of completing over, I think it was 75 laps over the race weekend as a team. So we've got extra bit of cash, and now we've got just over $2 million in the bank, which means we can go and invest that into another bit of an HQ. So we're going to do that at the start of next episode, but till then, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I've been aarava. Goodbye.